Welcome, Padawan, to another lesson of the Timpedia Holocron. Today we are going to be looking at some of the most proficient warriors to ever serve under the Empire, the personal guards of Emperor Palpatine, the Imperial Royal Guard. To understand the roots of the Royal Guard, we must go back to the time of the Republic. For many years, the Supreme Chancellors, Senators, and a number of important landmarks on Coruscant were guarded by the Senate Guard. They wore heavy armor with long flowing capes colored a deep blue to help them stand out against most crowds. They were often equipped with a large ceremonial stun blaster whose only real use was crowd control, as well as open-visored helmets to help make them seem open to the people. Centuries after the formation of the Republic, the Senate Guard was still the only force dedicated to guarding important persons such as the Chancellor and Senators, as well as important landmarks on Coruscant such as the Senate Building. However, this began to change after the Battle of Naboo. Many senators began to call for a dedicated force to be created to guard the Chancellor at all times that only answered to him and not the chain of command of the Senate Guard. Out of this outcry came the Red Guard, who were completely physically different in appearance from their Senate Guard brothers. Their armor was changed from the blue open visor to the red with the closed visor, as well as their primary weapon changing from the ceremonial stun blaster to the force pike, a pole staff with an electric charge. The Red Guard remained Palpatine's primary guards until the dissolvement of the Republic, when their name was changed to the Imperial Royal Guard, along with the training methods for new members. Previously, they had been simply brought up from the ranks of the Senate Guard, who were the best of the best, but now their training was completely dedicated to their core and was much more intense. Trainees were sent to the new Imperial Royal Guard Academy on the barren planet Yingkor for training, which had been sterilized at the beginning of the Empire's reign to suppress a rebellion. There, trainees were indoctrinated to be absolutely loyal to the Emperor, as well as intense martial training with vibroswords, force pikes, and heavy blaster pistols. Their final test was a battle before the Emperor against a fellow trainee to the death to prove their devotion to orders and their physical prowess. Upon graduation, members were assigned to the Emperor's Guard or to guard a number of his most private facilities around the galaxy, including his cloning facilities on Biss or the Emperor's Citadel. As with many of the other aspects of his military, Palpatine instituted a number of higher echelons within the Royal Guard to promote competition and to weed out the weak, though many of these were only attainable by Force sensitives. One of these was the Shadow Guard, a group of individuals whose time was divided between being sent on extremely sensitive missions by Palpatine himself, or guarding him in less visible ways than the Royal Guard. The highest echelon of the Royal Guard was the Sovereign Protectors, Force sensitives who were the masters of all forms of combat and were completely devoted to their Emperor. Their job was to guard his most vital facility in the galaxy, his clones in their installation on Biss. The Royal Guard served Palpatine with almost complete loyalty from the rise of the Empire until his death at the Battle of Endor, with few exceptions. At this time, many went their separate ways, with some choosing suicide, some following the most powerful Imperial warlords, and the remainder continuing to serve Sate Prestige during his reign as Grand Vizier until he was supplanted by Ysain Izzard. That is, until 10 years after Endor, when the reborn Emperor returned and summoned his remaining guardsmen. All those left alive after this long absence flocked to their true master and served him with vigor until his true death a year later. The small number of guardsmen left alive retreated to their old facility on Yingkor when they found out that Sovereign Protector Karnor Jax had actually sabotaged the Emperor's cloning process and led to his demise. At this time, Jax's troops burst in and began to kill all of the guardsmen inside, save one. Guardsman Kir Kanos fought his way free and began a rampage through Jax's empire, dedicated to bringing down the man who he saw as the killer of his emperor. In a final confrontation, the two faced off over the pit in the abandoned training facility on Yin Kor, and Kanos struck down the would-be Emperor once and for all. Kanos went on to become a bounty hunter, trying to bring justice to the galaxy in the name of his Emperor. A number of other guardsmen would come around under people such as Admiral Dalla and other warlords, but they were not true royal guardsmen. Kir Kanos is the last one to survive to today, and when he passes, they will leave behind a legacy as some of the deadliest warriors in the galaxy. Though they followed a tyrant, it is always important to remember that they were truly dedicated, and that gave them power. The lesson is concluded, Padawan. May the Force be with you.